following program was provided by an independent producer solely responsible for its content. The opinions expressed do not necessarily represent the views of this station, its staff, board of directors, or underwriters.
Hi, this is Ken Gidge, and this is the Art of Politics. And maybe some of you heard, of course, I'm the Democrat, and over here is the Republican conservative, and I'm the liberal Democrat. I'm the good guy, and you're the good guy too. Hi, Bill.
But you called yourself a liberal, Ken.
Yeah, I am a liberal.
You don't know that that's synonymous with bad guy.
Oh, bad guy? Right. Well, you are no longer running for Congress, and I was under the impression you were not going to be here. So we were going to start a show tonight, of course, doing all the great news that's taking place. So
let me get this straight. You thought I wasn't going to be here, so you're going to replace me with Catherine Zeta-Jones.
Oh, every time, any time I can.
It's understandable.
Yes, well, thank you. All right. Well, last time you were here, you were running for Congress, and you decided not to. So, and I've read a lot, and of course it's been on Channel 9. But tell us why you're not running. Besides, you need the money, like everybody else.
Listen, I never announced officially. It was always exploratory, and we did look at it. As we were looking at it, an employment opportunity came to me, and I took it.
A good one.
It's interesting. It certainly will be good for my family.
Very good one.
You know, one of the things, and you have gone through this sort of analysis. I think anyone who runs for school board or runs for state representative or any of these jobs in New Hampshire that aren't career politician positions, you have to sit there and say, do I have the time? Is it appropriate that I ask my family to go through the sacrifice, and particularly state representative, and particularly the position I've held, which is speaker, where it takes up most of your time.
It's 7 days a week.
Yeah, it's 7 days a week, and and certainly if
as long as they got your telephone number, 7 days a week.
Yeah, and you're up there, and you're actually running the business of the House of Representatives, the employees, and the budgets, and so forth. And so you have to sit back and say, do I think that the sacrifice I'm going to be taking on myself and for my family is appropriate in light of what I want to do? So when this opportunity came to me, I went through that same analysis that you've gone through, which is, is it worth it to do this? Given my goals, my public policy goals, am I going to be so successful that I'm willing to give up employment entirely? And I couldn't answer that question by saying, yes, it is that important.
About 3 weeks ago, after the show, you told me you were leaving for Germany, and you're going to be there for 3 days or 4 days, or we're flying you over to do business.
Right.
And I guess that was the time when you guys were talking about you doing something? Did you interview with them?
Well, I've known the folks who own and run this company.
Name the company.
It's the BrainLoop Inc. in the U.S., BrainLoop AG, which is an abbreviation of the German word for business association. And I've known them since, in running that company since 2006. I've known some of them for quite a long time, for several decades. And so I've been doing some legal work for them typical corporate counsel type of things, a lot of contracts and employment law issues and intellectual property issues, registering trademarks and so forth. And so it's not unknown that I go over there. I'd been there a couple of years before, actually a year before I became speaker. And so part of it was just going over there, I think, to kind of do some legitimate, legal things. But in retrospect, I see now that they were really interested in moving along the American subsidiary, getting some new life in there and new direction.
So you basically were being interviewed.
And so they were seeing if I probably understood their product and their culture well enough that it would be an appropriate fit.
And you'll be running the company here in this country.
Yeah, so
where will it be?
The American subsidiary is located in Cambridge, and my title will be Chief Operating Officer. Plus I hold a corporate office. I think it's secretary of the corporate secretary of the company. And so what we'll be doing is building it up. We're going to see if we can do that, and starting to use some business terms now. We're going to see if we can do that organically, if we can grow it from within, or if there's a strategic investment we want to make, which may well include trying to source similar companies or extend our product line through similar companies.
Well, I was a little upset because honestly, I thought we would have to be doing, a sort of like a, show with.
Can I
But
recognize I've
coming
been
back.
carrying you on the show.
Yeah,
I wouldn't leave you here,
Yeah,
Ken.
well,
I wouldn't leave
wait,
you.
Wait a minute. Before the,
I got
it's yours or mine.
I got him sputtering here, so.
Yeah, and by the way, before the show began, he did say I was the reason that ran him out of running for Congress. Isn't that right?
Here I thought you were a reliable reporter of the facts.
Yeah, I am
reliable. Indeed.
You see,
Indeed, you
all the
aren't.
Democrats who hate me, you didn't understand what I was doing.
Yeah,
Don't
you drove me right out.
He's not running.
Well, I have to thank you then, if that
You're
was
welcome.
the case, for
You're
doing that,
welcome.
because
Do I
this
get a
isn't- this is-
commission or do I get a job?
No, because there's no
No.
evidence that you did anything. But I'm willing to take you on face value that you must have done something. And so, hey, thanks for the job.
Yeah, thanks for the job. All right. Well, you see, Democrats, all the time you thought I was just giving him time. I was beating him up a little, and then I was getting beat up too, but we were having fun.
We've been having fun, and it's not really
And
being beaten up.
And I'm happy that you're going to stay. We're going to be still doing the show. We may be doing it on a different day. It'll come out the same week or whatever. And I think that's very important because politics are, still, our stock and trade at this particular time.
Well, that's right. And the theory of this show has always been that a Democrat and Republican can get together and one, like each other, and two, talk about the issues without.
I don't like you.
What?
See, I never liked him before. He thinks I liked him. No, I'm not being nice.
I
do like
what
you.
makes
I do like
What
you.
makes you think
I
I'm
like
describing
you.
this? I was saying that's a theory. That's something we're trying to approach. Never have achieved it.
No, not at all.
But certainly, I think we have achieved something else, which is an ability to talk about issues and not get angry about it to each other.
Right.
And I know you, and I know I'm very passionate about some of these issues, and we can be passionate without being disagreeable.
Well, I just want to, since you're not running, and you have admitted I did get rid of you because of that, but I just wanted to explain to the Democrats, and I really got beat up. I honestly got in a lot of trouble, wouldn't talk to me, people wouldn't come on the show because we were doing a show together. And that really upset me.
It really didn't change your life much.
No, it didn't change my life at all. They
People
wouldn't
being
come on
angry.
before without you. So there's no change at all.
Right.
But no, I'm happy that you're going to keep doing the show. I think it's very important.
Well, and I'm still going to be in the House of Representatives.
Are you running again?
I probably will not. I mean, just as I told WNMUR when they interviewed me on this issue, probably not. There's a time and a season for everything.
Oh, come on.
I've contributed quite a bit. It's been about 12 years that I've been in one public office or another. And, as I said again offline to you, and I've said to others, one of the things that people never understood is that when I say things, I'm really telling the truth. And so when I said we weren't going to raise taxes and fees,
Oh, here it
I
goes
really
again.
meant we weren't going to do it. And so people, I think that's why the reaction was so sharp. They said, okay, yeah, we've heard this before. Politicians say that all the time, but we know what you're going to do is kind of cut spending a little bit, raise taxes, and you're going to fudge it. We didn't do it, and I think it was a shock to the system. Similarly,
You only got away
similarly,
with it because you had a supermajority. That's the only reason why you did it. Could get away with it. The way you did it.
Who knows whether I can get away with it?
Getting rid of a 10-cent tax on cigarettes. That's crazy.
Who knows the reason? You know, that's why that and other things we did brought the unemployment rate down to 5.1% as opposed to the national 17.8%. 7.8%.
Wait a minute. I think we were quarter percent less before you took it over, you guys, and when you went up a half a percent.
Ken, where do you get these statements? It's absolutely not true.
Well,
but okay, but let's not argue that. I mean, the point I was making is that I've always said that this is when I'm in public office. I think when any of us are, we have a public trust. It's not a career. It's not something we should be doing for personal aggrandizement. We should be more like the founding fathers, which is come in, work on something, give it your best. Try to persuade people that what you're doing right, but always be prepared to go away, you know, whether it's voluntarily or involuntarily. In my case, I've been elected in the past 10 years to 5 different offices, not including Speaker, which is, you know, separate, but by voters in election. You know, I've been able to get quite a bit done, and I'm really grateful for the trust that was put into me. I think I did some good things. Obviously, there are those who think they weren't good, but you know, I think they were really positive, and so at some point you kind of move away.
well,
You know, I used to.
I can't. I'm not gonna let you get away with saying that, gee, I was a great guy and I did everything I said I was going to do, because one thing you had a hard time doing, and that was probably understanding some of, not what you did, but how you went about some of the things that more or less got you in trouble. And we also...
well, what got me in trouble was a demonizing rhetoric. What got me in trouble is an uncompromising public position on issues. You know, it is what it is.
Throwing newspaper people out, closing the balcony up there one day.
Sure. Let's go through.
Let's start with the balcony first.
Let's go through that. So we're having a House session, and some union people come in to the New Hampshire House, where there's an elected representative of every citizen in New Hampshire, and start shouting so we can't be heard.
How many were shouting?
You know, I didn't do a count enough so that we couldn't hear.
3 or 4, so you cleared the whole place.
No, it wasn't. It was not.
No, it was not.
It
was no more than 4 people, and you cleared the whole place of about 150 people.
That
was not right.
That is wrong.
What's wrong?
Your statement there was 3 or 4 is a whole section of firefighters from Portsmouth. I was standing there watching them. I know who it was. I know by name who it was. And I watched them shout to the point that as I was sitting there trying to figure, can we go on? Can we go on? Representatives were looking at me saying, we can't hear. The House clerk came to me and said, we can't continue on. No one can hear because of the shouting.
Well,
It is the obligation of the Speaker, just as it would be a judge in court, to allow the public business to continue. Do you think a judge in a district court, one of the lowest courts in our state, would allow Portsmouth firefighters to come in and shout to the point that no one could be heard just because they do?
The full House of Representatives to everyone. You get rid of the people who caused the trouble.
And that's what we did. We cleared it. We cleared it out, and then we worked with the state police to put in a procedure that they would admit people, and we admitted them as soon as the procedure was in place.
That's true.
And so, you know.
But I mean, I guess my whole point is, now you're not running for another office. I mean, that it's not necessarily what you did, it's how you went about it. And I think that's what upset a lot of people.
That's like saying the judge who clears demonstrators out of a courtroom is always wrong. It should be a better PR person.
You know, again, first of all, a courtroom might sit 50, and you might be looking at 6 or 8 in a courtroom who are doing business. We're 400 people. You don't close the whole thing down unless
It didn't close the whole
unless there
thing
was
down.
no danger, nobody was throwing anything, they were noisy.
You know,
and
how come when Terry Norelli threw people out of the gallery, we don't hear about that?
she didn't close the entire gallery.
She threw people out. And did
That's
the same, and she cleared the whole thing. The whole thing was cleared. I was there. I was watching it. It was a vote, and there were people up there, and I thought she was right. They were shouting, and she cleared the gallery. And then I assume did the same thing we did, which is to say to security, put together a procedure to allow people back in. You know, what that illustrates is not a difference in approach, but rather it illustrates of the speaker, of the leadership of the House between Speaker Norelli or Speaker O'Brien. What it does illustrate is a difference in the opposition rhetoric.
You know,
It's not surprising that immediately there were people in court in 10 minutes with a readily drafted complaint.
to open up.
10 minutes
That's
after,
right.
and so obviously,
That's right.
if you have a drafted complaint, obviously this is part of the political theater. Among the plaintiffs, the way was Senator Lasky, then out of office. It was part of the theater was to see if we could shout to the point that O'Brien will do what Norelli did, which is clear the gallery so he can run right over to court. And that is
Clear in the
disrespectful to
gallery,
the people of New Hampshire.
But the first, look,
It's the same thing that Speaker Norelli did.
I understand that.
And do you think that a bunch of Republicans, when Speaker Norelli had a complaint all written in their hip pocket, going, "Oh boy, we're over to court."
That's first of all, that's not factual, and you're under the impression that they did this just so that you would close it down so they could run off the court.
I think that there's two possibilities here. The first is, as you just described it, that they did it so they can go to court. The other possibility is that Senator Lasky and her cohorts always run around with a complaint in the pocket dated the session day, just in the off chance that they can run over to court to go file it.
I asked Senator Lasky if she would come on, and she
Well,
wouldn't
tell her to
answer
come-
me. She
Yeah. Well, be careful. She might have a complaint in her pocket ready to go to court.
Everybody's got a complaint for me. I mean, the only reason why I'm happy you're here is no one else.
And so you brought up another incident, and that is the Concord Monitor ran a cartoon with me appearing as Hitler.
And what was under the cartoon?
I have no idea. It had me appearing
It
as.
just had
I think
you
it said
as
if the mustache fits, wear it, or something like that. You know what? There is political
Why would they do
rhetoric
that, though?
because they are a mouthpiece of the doctrinaire left. And what they're trying to
I
do is
see.
demonize
see.
conservative leaders. And there's a certain amount of criticism that is warranted as part of the political discourse. And you and I both know we have to have a thick skin about it. You don't call someone Hitler. You don't.
Well, again,
Hitler put to death 6 to 8 million Jews and an equal number of
that may not
Slavs
be, but one of your own party who stepped off when you were trying to get them out of the
one of
well.
my own party who
Stepped off,
sometimes is a Democrat, sometimes is a libertarian,
no,
and
wait a
is
minute.
generally known
But
as
it was someone who was a Republican
someone
made
who is
some sort of
not very stable.
comment that you got very upset about,
And so because a representative,
actually, I think everybody got upset about it.
Because a representative who is known to be a person who doesn't control himself well said Sieg Heil in the House of Representatives, something that I know, Ken, it saddened you just as it saddened all of us, except apparently that representative. They used that as an excuse to call a political figure here a Hitler. And that was inexcusable. That means that they were...
But they drew a picture of you. In other words, you were in a cartoon.
That means that they had ceased reporting the news and started to join the political fray as a participant.
So, but you threw these
No,
writers are
I
not
didn't throw them out.
cartoonists.
I didn't throw them out. I'm just saying, you don't have a right to, I'm going to be talking to some people. You don't have a right to come to my office. You can go anywhere in the public areas. All I said was, I'm talking to some reporters here.
I'm talking to the media, and you're
No,
the media,
I'm
but since your newspaper did this cartoon, you're not allowed to come in.
You just made a mistake there.
How?
You said, I'm talking to the media, you're the media.
You were talking to the media.
They're not the media. What they are is nothing more than a mouthpiece.
Oh, I see.
For
so
the
if
for,
they write in
for-
the newspaper like Concord Monitor, they're not the media.
no,
They weren't the media to you.
They weren't the media when they decided that they're going to participate in the political process by portraying a figure as Hitler. And then, as I mentioned to you off the air, they just finished this campaign, which basically was them writing, putting in the paper, could you please write letters as to why the speaker should no longer be hold office, and tell us why you think that's the case. And so we actually had people write in saying that isn't the case. We had people write in saying that isn't the case.
Now? Come on
we
now,
had people write in
Bill.
who said, no, we don't agree with you. They published not one of those letters. They published, I think it was 150, 200 letters, which met their goal of participating in the political process. They have every right to do that. It's freedom of speech. You know, they don't have a right to come into my office when they by saying that they're media when they're not.
Well, look, if they work for the Concord Monitor and they write for the Concord Monitor, they are media. But in your opinion, they're not media.
No.
And the people who write are not the people who do the cartoons. And that's my complaint. You are the media right now. You yourself, we're sitting here, we are the media. Oh, yes, we are.
We're two politicians talking about political issues. We're not the media. No one expects us to
be intelligent?
No one expects us to be other than opinionated entirely. And certainly the Concord Monitor can have its opinions. We're not holding, I'm not citing that as a wrong. What I'm saying is
you shouldn't have done that.
They weren't participating as media.
They are the media.
No,
to you, they're not the media.
No, they're not the media. Don't you understand the distinction? The media reports facts. They don't report only opinion. You and I are not media. We are people who have opinions, and we want to get them across, and we want to discuss that. And we want to argue that.
You can argue all you want, Bill. You threw two writers out who had nothing to do with the cartoon.
Yes, they did. They work for a political organization. I wasn't going to allow in, for example, some others. The AFL-CIO had sent some people there. They have something they call the AFL-CIO press something, you know. And
did they get in too?
They showed up and said, we're here with the media. And we go, no, you're not. You're no more the media than if you know, Americans for Prosperity sent somebody over and said, hey, we're the media. And we could say, well, no, you're not the media. You're a political organization. You know, you're George Soros, or you're, you know, Koch brothers or whatever. There's a place for you. You have freedom of speech, but you're not media. Concord Monitor had become that. They ceased to function as media. They became propagandists, and we don't need that propagandist.
Made a mistake.
No, I didn't.
You shouldn't have done that.
You don't understand,
I
Ken.
do understand.
You don't understand. What mistake? I'm not a career politician. My life didn't rise or fall on my longevity as a politician. It rose. What was important to me are facts. What is important to me is fairness. And when someone that says, or an organization that says, treat us as media, become propagandists, you can say.
The newspapers who would write pro-you, then they were fine. They were writing facts.
The newspapers that would have opinions that were not pro my position certainly can be media too. National Telegraph has been very vicious on their editorial page. The other newspapers have been as well. Some have.
How has the Telegraph treated you?
You know,
Kevin Lanigan.
Kevin Lanigan is a reporter. He reports facts. Their editorial page has been very harsh. That's fine. Keep your editorials to editorials. Don't report your opinions as news, and that's what they were doing. And moreover, in your opinions, keep them within the bounds of decency. And there's one thing that defines what is indecent in politics, and that's comparing someone to Hitler.
Well, also, but you must understand, Bill, it's in our Constitution, and that's one of the very few countries that have something in the Constitution that says the freedom of. Now, you may
Sure,
not
sure.
like
So-
what
so-
they say
so-
about you or write pictures
but-
about you, but the fact of the matter is that you did take their constitutional
That's-
right away
No,
by not
I
letting
didn't.
them into your office.
No, I didn't.
I know you get wild over here.
If I sent out the Capitol Police and said, go arrest that cartoonist, then we would be talking about First Amendment. My choice not to talk to them is just like their choice to write what they want. That's freedom. I don't have to talk with them. I don't have to invite someone into my office that says, you're Hitler.
Well,
No,
they didn't
that's
call
it.
it was a cartoon, for God's sakes. You know,
No.
But I saw
beyond
some
that.
I saw some of the cartoons. And listen, you're lucky they do a cartoon. They ignore me. So,
Well, I mean, they were never friendly. They actually did some earlier cartoons to me that looked like Bismarck's son, you know?
oh really?
Yeah, oh yeah. And then actually the
Do
latest,
you have them? Do you have them
well,
on your
and
wall?
then
Do
the
you have 'em
latest one,
framed?
I went up and spoke in Concord at this anti-Obamacare rally, and they were back to Bismarck's son. And actually, I guess the guy's name is Martlin or something, the cartoonist. I actually had someone call him up, and I said, you know, we really like your cartoon, the Bismarck son one. Can we buy it? Can we get a copy? He wouldn't sell it. Wouldn't sell it to us.
Oh no!
Yeah, no, it wouldn't sell it. So
Wow.
and so I'm okay. You know, I have no problem in people saying you're wrong, you're silly.
You took it too personal.
No.
You took it too personal.
You don't
And I
call
have them, they
someone
were
Hitler.
They didn't
You-
call you Hitler. It was a picture of
They-
Hitler.
they
It
called me
was-
Hitler.
But it's the freedom of the
Good,
the media.
good. And you know what I
they can
didn't
do?
do?
But
I
you
didn't
can
send the state
also
police
keep
out
them
to
out of your
arrest them.
office. All right, and that's what you did. I don't think you should have done that.
I think it's appropriate. I think it really pointed out that in our country, there is media that goes beyond reporting. We have a real problem in that regard. We really do. I mean, on both sides. We
Rush Limbaugh.
we have Rush Limbaugh. People look at Rush Limbaugh as a source of news. He's not. He's a source of opinion. People look at MSNBC as a source of news. They're not. They're a source of opinion. What is being lost here? And that's why I decided as
And Fox News is.
Fox News tends to be
Show-
opinion. Sean Hannity, certainly. They'll listen to Sean Hannity and think that's news, and it's opinion. What is being lost here is what we used to have, which is media outlets that said, we're going to call it straight. You know, we're going to do our best to, one, choose news not based on ideology, and then report the facts. And the problem with Concord Monitor, or the problem with Rush Limbaugh, is that they've sucked out all the oxygen out of the process of fair reporting. You know, people look at the Concord Monitor or they look at the National Telegraph and they expect that in their choice of stories and their reporting of stories, there's facts, and then they can turn to the editorial page.
Why don't we do just a whole hour instead of doing a half hour, since we're here already?
Sure.
Okay, we're going to, because I think this is going too good, and I really don't want to stop it, because we'd have to stop right now. So let's do a full hour. Look,
Sure, unless the hook comes, let's go.
this is already over. I mean, you know, I'll tell you, I feel good that, A, you're out of the politics as it is. You're not going to run again. That's what you say. I wish you would.
No, I probably won't. I mean, again,
I mean, it's
you know,
just,
part of the reasons I am not running for Congress is that.
No, I didn't want you to
this-
run for Congress. I
No,
mean,
but not part of it. The reason I'm not running for Congress is because there's an opportunity for me to do what I want in a way that's going to make my family's life a lot more comfortable. And that choice being made, it sort of also covers whether or not I'd run for the New Hampshire legislature again. I just don't have the time.
Well, I'll tell you what, we are going to say goodnight, and we will come back next week, because we might as well do that. So
Okay.
this is Ken Gidge, and this has been Bill O'Brien, and this has been The Art of Politics, and we'll see you next week.
preceding program was provided by an independent producer solely responsible for its content. The opinions expressed do not necessarily represent the views of this station, its staff, board of directors, or underwriters.